Main man here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing. Word on the curb is that they're talking about Errol Spence Jr. versus Lamont Peterson for January 13th of 2018. They say they're going to officially announce it sometime this weekend. Good, dynamic fight for the welterweight division. Very much looking forward to this fight. This fight could not be coming at a much better time for neither fighter in their careers, in my opinion. Errol Spence Jr., I hear this is his birthday. That's going to be his birthday that the fight going down on. He's going to be turning 28 years old, going up against Lamont Peterson, who's 33 years old. Lamont Peterson more so on the second half of his career. And who knows? I mean, with Peterson, honestly, at any particular fight, he can be looking for the door. He's been in a lot of tough fights. He's had a pretty much a good length of a career right now. But he's still a major player, especially at welterweight. And he's always kept his name in the mix, man. And Errol Spence Jr., man, looking like the most feared fighter at welterweight right now. No one wants to just willy-nilly jump in the ring with no Errol Spence. No matter if he's putting his title out there to fight him. He's told all of them, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, look, if you want a shot at this title, come get it. I'm down to fight all of y'all. And, of course, you won't hear nothing coming from those camps when it's coming to Errol Spence, man. But I talked about this fight in previous videos. I thought that this was going to be a good fight at welterweight, especially for Errol Spence, because he was calling out Keith Thurman, and he still is to this day, calling him out, wanting that fight. And given that Keith Thurman was taking so much time off, and then there's also talks that he's going to be looking to take an interim fight before he basically takes anything major, Errol Spence could have stayed busy and took on Lamont Peterson. And then there was no guarantee that Keith Thurman would have fought Errol Spence because, fighting Errol Spence would have been a unification match for Keith Thurman. That would have been something me and you want to see. But in Keith Thurman's case, where these fighters, ladies and gentlemen, they don't run to unification matches as fast as a lot of people think. I mean, to us, it's the showing that we getting one champion in each division and stuff like that, and it means a lot to us to see who is the best fighter at these divisions. But to them, they see sanctioning fees. And look, Errol Spence would be a good fight for Keith Thurman, but it'll be great for the fans. It'll establish who Keith Thurman would be at welterweight, but the fact is, it's also a sanctioning fee for Keith Thurman that he can also get the same respect from rematching Showtime Sean Porter or Danny Garcia, who are WBC fighters, which that's the belt that Keith Thurman has, as well as the WBA. But, and I found it funny. I thought that if Errol Spence would have fought Peterson, it would at least put that WBA regular title that Lamont Peterson had on the line and made some sort of, unification for, I guess, their alphabet title, but basically the right to become the mandatory to face Keith Thurman, because that's the position that Lamont Peterson was in. He was right there, man. His next fight, if the powers that be would have enforced it properly, could have possibly been Keith Thurman. And he was in a good negotiating position, but this is the type of stuff you get when all of the fighters share the same manager. They'll make decisions that normally, if there were two fighters that had opposing managers, you wouldn't be able to get this type of thing going. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't get fighters leaving their mandatory positions and stepping down and vacating titles in the fashion that you would if you had all of them had the same manager. And in this case, they all have Al Heyman. And, it's working for us because, shit, we seeing the fights. That's all that matters. It's definitely working for us. But as far as for the fighters and their positioning in boxing, it compromises a lot of that. And that's all a sign of loyalty to their manager. I mean, these are still good fights, man. And they're going to get paid handsomely. There's talks of Errol Spence getting, $3.5 million for this fight, Joe? Shit, hey. What a payday for Errol Spence. Well, deservingly so. I guess that's what you get when other fighters just keep ducking you, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know what Lamont Peterson is getting, but for Spence to be getting $3.5 million, shorty, this is definitely a sign of loyalty coming from Al Heyman, saying that, look, I appreciate y'all for hanging in there with me and just basically moving how I need y'all to move. And this is a good kickback. Possibly from the backers of Errol Spence. And especially given that the Danny Garcia and the Sean Porter or Keith Thurman fight are not showing his head, which they could if Al Heyman was to make that really happen. But, you know, if he's going to make Spence wait, then this is what you get, man. And this is good look, man, because Spence ain't fought since May, since he stopped my main man, Kell Brook, man. That was one hell of a fight. And, you know, when you watch that fight, truth be told, earlier on in that fight, Spence was getting tagged up a lot. Now, you wonder if Lamont Peterson is going to take anything from that fight and apply it, because I don't know if he's capable of doing it, but, I mean, Kell Brook was really landing good leather on Errol Spence early on in that fight, but he was fighting a smart fight, and he was being able to control the aggression of Errol Spence earlier on in the fight and pick his shots well. Lamont Peterson will attempt to do that, man. You know, he likes to box more so primarily in the first half of the fight, and usually, you know, he turns it up in the second half of each fight, but turning it up on a fighter like Errol Spence, this is a fighter unlike Lamont Peterson has ever fought in his entire career. This is unlike a Timothy Bradley, even a Danny Garcia, in which Danny Garcia started to fade towards the stretch. And in Errol Spence's case, he fights like a madman, man, the entire freaking fight, Joe. And it's going to be something that Peterson going to really, really have to deal with, man. But Peterson likes to become aggressive in the second half of the fight, man. I think we'll see how that works for him, man, because he's going to have to fight unlike a game plan he's ever fought in basically any fight in his career, man, against a fighter like Errol Spence. Hungry, body attacking, aggressive, and also a smart boxer at points throughout the fight, man. So, but he does get hit, and his defense to me is very suspect. Kell Brook exposed that. Lamont Peterson will have to build himself like a freaking tank for this fight, man. Like, he's going to have to make himself a really big welterweight, which is already said to be. But he doesn't have many fights at the official welterweight division, so he's going to have to really build himself like a tank for this fight to withstand a lot of the body punches of Errol Spence, man. But man, it's just it was talked about. But like I said before, back to the WBA situation. Like I said, I thought we would get possibly some sort of unification, but I guess we didn't. But there's a lot of also things going on down with the WBA right now, man, which they trying to consolidate a lot of their belts and to have one champion at each division. And that's respectable to do that. Basically trying to wipe out that WBA regular title. And that's something that us fans has been asking for quite some time. So maybe Lamont Peterson see the writing on the wall, or maybe the fact that he just see the fact that Keith Thurman ain't going to be checking for him, aside from Errol Spence and Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, which to me, those two fights take a back seat to Errol Spence or Lamont Peterson for that matter, because they've already been beat. If there is no official rematch clause in those fights, then I think those fights should take less, importance to Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson, in my opinion, because they haven't had a crack at that title yet. But like I said before, man, good fight for us fight fans. I'm gonna be looking forward to this fight. Both fighters need this fight. A good name for Errol Spence on his resume. It's gonna make the argument about Errol Spence's resume a lot tougher for having a victory over Kell Brook. If he defeats Lamont Peterson, that's going to be a good argument now for Errol Spence to go into a lot of more big fights. And really, if he does it in devastating fashion, as he's done with every opponent prior to this, then, man, it's going to be a lot to say about Errol Spence. And the cries for him and Keith Thurman have got to get much louder. I'm talking much louder. This could be this can play out in so much in Errol Spence's favor that it don't make no sense, because then he'll been able to say that, hey, not only is he the IBF welterweight champion, but he defeated the #1 contender basically at the WBA, which was the Mando to Keith one-time Thurman, and that's the thing I thought we would have gotten if the WBA regular title was involved. So maybe they'll make more talks about that. Maybe they change that. I don't know. I just haven't seen out. Last I heard is that Lamont Peterson vacated that title, and it has been a lot of talks about consolidating one champion and all that other jazz. So, man, good fight, though. Real good fight. Looking forward to this one, man. Y'all know, man, Lamont Peterson is definitely from my area, the DMV, man. So, of course, I'm going to have a little bias there. Like, yo, I'm rooting for Lamont Peterson all the way, 100%. But I understand what Errol Spence brings to this fight, and I understand what he brings to the table. But either way, I'm very impressed with this fight. Thanks to PBC, Al Heyman, for giving us this fight. Regardless of whatever the terms are involved, all we know is that we're getting it, and we're going to love getting it. And from what I understand, I think Showtime is going to be airing this fight. So, It's not going to be a pay-per-view. For those of us who have a Showtime subscription, I don't know if they're going to put this on regular TV. From last I seen, it was going to be Showtime. It's still going to be an easier fight to watch for us. You know what I'm saying? So real shit. So to the next video, Main Man, Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe. Twitter, Made Man 511. Facebook, Main Man, Made Man. Boxing Forum, Google Plus, Main Man, Made Man. Shit, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out after this fight is over with, Joe. Like, the positioning at welterweight will be very significant after the results of this fight is done, man. And shit, what a fight, Joe. Just like, damn, what a fight. What a fight. It's anybody's call. Expect a prediction video for this particular fight. Looking forward to it. Real shit. So to the next video. Boxing 2018 looking just as promising as Boxing 2017 because all the storylines of Boxing 2017 will play out in 2018. Here we are. We're going to have, we already know we're going to get a Canelo Triple G rematch, huh? Shit like that. We already know Jeff Horn is going to maybe stand in there with Crawford or Pacquiao rematch. We know that's on the horizon. We know Keith Thurman is going to have to make a decision to fight which next elite welterweight that he considers, you know, the best fight for him. But all of this stuff will play out in 2018, and it's a result of 2017. Hell of a year for boxing. To the next video. Peace out.